America Park in Detroit on a gorgeous 85-degree afternoon. The White Sox and the Tigers play ball today, and both teams are chasing the surprising Cleveland Indians. Cleveland a winner last night. Chicago beat the Tigers and Justin Verlander last night by the final of 8-2. Welcome to Fox's coverage of Major League Baseball. I'm Josh Lewin, and in the AL Central, as usual, it's up for grabs. Rod Allen is working with me today, and I turn to you, big guy. We handicap the field. Both these teams have a shot, don't they?
Oh, absolutely. If you're looking at the Tigers, they've got to get somebody else in that rotation to step up behind Justin Verlander. He's pitching like he wants to win his first Cy Young. When you start talking about the Chicago White Sox, it's offense. The middle of that batting order has really struggled. Konerko's basically been on an island by himself. They've got to get some help for him.
Well, the White Sox did get a big hit from Adam Dunn yesterday. That's large. A lot of large bats for Detroit, and they'll be swinging today. The White Sox and the Detroit Tigers featured on your television. Stay with us. First pitch coming up next right here on Fox. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. And you'll notice as the two teams present themselves to you today, they're not in uniforms you're accustomed to seeing. It is Negro League's tribute weekend here in Detroit. Detroit's Negro League team was an offshoot of the team the White Sox are wearing uniforms of today, the Chicago American Giants. So those are traveling blues today for Chicago, Mr. Rod Allen, and I guess kind of home whitish grays for the Tigers.
Yes, they are this afternoon.
Pierre is styling. Fouling one back. Max Scherzer on the mound. We'll get you all the lineups and pertinent info in just a moment. Don Kelly, the third baseman, in on the grass. Pierre always a threat to bunt. And this man on the mound, Mr. Max Scherzer. 10 wins, 4 losses. Pierre slashing one. And this ball is foul. Scherzer will be matched up today against Edwin Jackson, and it's funny, Jackson has a better ERA than Max Scherzer, but whereas Scherzer is 10-4, Jackson is 5-7. Scherzer certainly, Rod, hasn't done his best pitching of late.
He has not, but he got off to a really good start this year, and he finished last year on a very good note, but for whatever reason, he has stubbed his toe lately, and Jeff Jones, new pitching coach.
That ball heading into center, down for a base hit. Juan Pierre is on. And let's get you to those lineups that we promised. Brought to you by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. Ozzie Guillen will send him out this way after Pierre. It's Ramirez and Konerko. Adam Dunn, who has done very little this year, had a big hit last night. Carlos Quentin, 3 RBI yesterday. Alex Rios needs to get going. A.J. Brzezinski, Gordon Beckham, and Mark T. and the rest of the way. And obviously, Pierre is a guy you keep an eye on over there.
His ratio, however, has not been that good this year. He's been thrown out quite often.
Ramirez gets the bunt down. Scherzer scrambles, lobs, got him. And back to Max Scherzer for a moment, Rod. We'll scout him out for you.
I was talking about Jeff Jones, the new pitching coach. He's had that role the last couple of weeks after Rick Knapp was fired. They're trying to get Scherzer back to that power fastball. He has a good one. It goes anywhere from 94 to 98. When he does attack the strike zone with the fastball, the changeup is a much better pitch for him. And also confidence is big for Max. He has lacked confidence his last few starts. They'd like to see him get that back.
Wind blowing in a little bit today here at Comerica Park. Normally it takes a poke to get one out here anyway. Might be a little bit more difficult than that. If anyone, though, can cut one right through the breeze, on out of here. Boy, Paul Konerko, what a season he's having for Chicago.
It's a great fastball hitter. If you're the Tigers, however, you still have to pay some attention to Juan Pierre on second base. Even though Konerko's in that batter's box, he loves to steal third.
Dancing around off of there, Konerko waves and misses. And if there's a pickoff play on back there, Rod, Tiger fans will note there's a guy playing second base today they haven't seen since last August. Carlos Guillen is active for the game today, and he's playing second base.
Well, they were wanting to get Carlos back for quite some time, but he had the micro knee surgery last year and fracture surgery, and he's healthy now, but obviously they wanted to take their time with him.
And indeed, following your scouting report, they're keeping an eye on Juan Pierre. He has 13 steals this year. I guess on a pace for 21 or 22, but last year he had more than 60.
I talked to Juan before the game today, and I was asking him why he has not run more efficiently this year, and he gave me a couple different ideas. One, he said he's just not been good, but he also said there's been a couple of very young players batting second this year. Brent Morrow has batted second. Also, Alexi Ramirez, who bunted's a free swinger. So they haven't really been giving him opportunities to run early in counts.
All-star Alex Aila is a catcher today. He'll be charged with firing down to, in this case, third base if Pierre is on the run.
Most managers like to have that guy that bats second that has the ability to take a pitch. You'd love to have a left-hander so he could shoot that hole between the right side, between second and first. But obviously it's been an issue for Ozzie Guillen this year finding that guy to bat second.
It's actually a great, if not subtle, point. You got a couple of free-swinging righties in Ramirez and Morel who have been in that spot. But Ozzie Guillen would love to be running more. Last year, the White Sox were near the top in stolen bases in the league. This year, they're near the bottom.
Well, one of the things that Ozzie Guillen has always wanted since he's taken over the reins of the Chicago White Sox, this is his 8th year as their manager. He loves to have teams that are well-balanced. He loves that speed at the top of the batting order, and he has that in Pierre, but beyond that, he really doesn't have much speed.
On 1-2, Konerko rung up by Alan Porter, your home plate umpire today.
One of the things that Scherzer has started to work on, and that's throwing fastballs inside, which sometimes can be a tricky proposition from a guy that throws from a low three-quarter arm slot. Every now and then, because of the arm slot, the fastball will flatten out, and that's when he gets into trouble.
Konerko, the second out of the inning. Adam Dunn, the batter. Dunn had a big base hit in the win yesterday for Chicago. And I guess for Dunn, any hit is a big base hit. He came into that game yesterday, Rod, hitting 160.
I was talking to their hitting coach, Greg Walker, before the game, and he said before the break, Dunn started to take some better swings, getting a few hits, and, of course, in the ball game last night, he had a key base hit, drove in a couple runs.
He did that off of Justin Verlander, who leads the American League in strikeouts. Dunn leads the world in strikeouts achieved. So it seemed like the preponderance of evidence would be Verlander strikes out Dunn. It didn't happen.
No, JV wasn't at his best last night. That much is for certain. Did not have the kind of command he had in his previous 9 starts where he had been unhittable.
Dunn went down to Texas during the All-Star break, just kind of took his mind off of baseball, and he came back and helped out to do that last night. Verlander, as you said, just not very sharp. And just the second time all year in 23 starts that he had not registered a quality start. And you know where Carlos Guillen, the second baseman, plays Adam Dunn. If there is contact to be made, he figures there's going to be a rope hit out into shallow right field on one hop.
Well, that's why you back up about 10 steps into the outfield grass, which gives you an opportunity to move laterally to your left or your right and knock down a possible base hit that gets through the dirt.
Dunn draws a walk. And no, he didn't. That was a late strike call by Mr. Porter, and Adam Dunn. Sorry, son. I was right there with you. That's embarrassing, though, right? You're about halfway down to first, and then you got to come back.
No doubt about that.
Now we shall see. On 3-2, and after Dunn just did that in front of a young umpire. Alan Porter, 33 years old. And this umpiring crew with Gary Darling as the crew chief. They go to Minnesota next. They've got a day-night doubleheader when they get there. It's a long day for the umpires for sure. Still waiting to see which way this one tips. After Dunn was sure he had drawn ball 4.
Well, Scherzer can go a couple different ways here. He's got a really good changeup. He's got a power changeup to the left-handers that acts a lot like a split-fingered fastball. But if he does decide to throw that pitch to Dunn, he needs to make sure he gets it down and fading away from him. Or he can simply climb the ladder with the belt-buckle fastball in the mid-90s and possibly get a swing and miss of Dunn. Dunn doesn't handle fastballs very well up in the zone.
Handles that, sends it out towards center, but it's not going anywhere in this big ballpark. Dunn thought he had walked. Instead, he has flied out. Scherzer is out of the first inning. We're scoreless here in the first inning today. The starting lineups for the Tigers are brought to you by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. Austin Jackson gets the day off again. The wrist is still bothering him. Andy Dirks is leading off for Jim Leland. Brendan Bosch has been fantastic the last 4 weeks. Mags Ordonez, the former White Sox great. Miguel Cabrera, the current Tiger great. Victor Martinez and Johnny Peralta. Carlos Guillen, welcome back. Alex Avila and Don Kelly. Brandon Inge continues to slump, so he is not in the lineup for Jim Leland today. Kelly batting ninth and playing third. There is Edwin Jackson, who pitched well for these Tigers back in 2009, 13-game winner. And in fact, Jackson and his mound opponent today, Max Scherzer, they were involved in the same trade in December of 2009. More commonly known now, I guess, Rod Allen, as the Curtis Granderson trade.
That was a good deal for both teams at the time, the Arizona Diamondbacks, and then they traded him to the Chicago White Sox. And there were many that thought once the White Sox made the deal for Jackson at the trade deadline last year, they were going to trade him to the Washington Nationals for Adam Dunn. Of course, that never happened, and they were able to acquire Dunn anyway through free agency.
Dunn just had the at-bat to end things in the top of the first, where he thought he had walked and was told he had not. Fouled off a couple, flied out. Juan Pierre's leadoff single went for naught. Swinging at one in the dirt, and down goes Dirks. A.J. Przinsky has to complete it with that throw on down to first base. Let us scout out Edwin Jackson.
He's got electric stuff. He's got a fastball that gets up to 98, sometimes 99 miles an hour. We just witnessed that wipeout slider. It was to Andy Dirks, tremendous pitch. But what Don Cooper would like to get out of him is more consistency. And they need him to be more consistent each 5 days that he's able to get the ball. He just hasn't been the Edwin Jackson that they acquired last year.
Brendan Bosch, the Bunyan-esque left fielder. Big guy, takes a big swing.
He's got a lot of physical tools. He's got some power. He's hitting for average. He's got decent speed for a big guy. And he has a really good arm from left.
And the last 4 weeks, he's hit .367. Just kind of spoons that one up in the air. Martin able to glide back and get it. Mags Ordonez comes up next. Now we begin the parade of Venezuelan natives for Ozzie Guillen to appreciate here today. Of course, Ozzie very proudly Venezuelan, and the Tigers today roll out with a lineup that is 44% Venezuelan.
I think we're starting to see a lot more Venezuelan players in the major leagues these days. It used to be that it was a lot more Dominican players, but I think the balance is kind of weighing toward the Venezuelan players nowadays.
On the ground, it pinballs towards third. On the short hop, Tian makes the play. Score it 1-5-3, and Jackson looks like he's fine. There's no score at the end of one. Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. By DirecTV. Now NFL Sunday Ticket is included at no extra charge. And by Gillette Fusion Pro Glide turns shaving into gliding and skeptics into believers. Edwin Jackson took a hot shot off the bat of Maglio Ordonez and appears to be okay. Now Max Scherzer gets set. Carlos Quentin will face him. Here's what it looked like from the blimp, or DirecTV blimp up overhead. Again, the two teams wearing the uniforms of the Negro League teams. The White Sox wearing the Chicago American Giants unis today. Tigers, those are the old Detroit Stars.
This much I do know, buddy. Those uniforms look like they're hot.
And Quinn looks like he's got his worn like capri pants. Actually, look where he's wearing those things.
Making a fashion statement.
Looks like you just cut him off right at the shins. So he takes up an in here from Scherzer. Well, some of those former Negro League players stopped to talk to you. That must have been pretty cool for you today.
Absolutely. The Tigers do a wonderful job with not only a Negro League game, but they have an entire weekend for former Negro League players.
The Stars' best player was the Hall of Famer Turkey Stearns. The Stars played from 1919 to 1958, and then in 58, their owner brought one of the Harlem Globetrotters players in, Goose Tatum, and turned the whole team into the Goose Tatum's Detroit Clowns. Peg to left, Carlos Quentin does something he hasn't done for a long time. It had been 105 at-bats. That's got to feel great for Carlos Quentin.
Carlos Quentin feasts on mid-90s fastballs, and he has done that since putting on a White Sox uniform against the Detroit Tigers. This is a 94-mile-per-hour fastball that counts 3-1, but take a look at the hands and the direction that Quentin takes with his hands to pull him inside to get to this fastball. That fastball running off the plate inside, but really quick hands here by Quentin, and he hit a seed out to left field.
He'd be keeping those pants now, I bet, too. 105 at bat. Homerless drought is over. Alex Rios, the batter now.
Scherzer has the kind of stuff, and he presents problems for power hitters that are right-handed. The White Sox boast quite a few of those guys. Quentin has not had a lot of success against Max, but he got himself in a favorable count, 3-1, and he got the fastball he was looking for.
No, Quentin had been 1 out of 12 against Max Scherzer. Slider missing, and I guess there were signs yesterday when Quentin broke out with a 3-hit, 3 RBI game that, okay, maybe the All-Star break kind of cleansed him a little bit and he's all set.
Well, you knew that he wouldn't stay down very long. He's just been too good a player. He made the All-Star team this year.
That ball popped into shallow right field. Carlos Guillen just activated today. The Ford keys to the game. I turn to you, Rod Allen.
Well, the left-handed bats, they need to show up today against Scherzer. He gives up a .313 batting average to left-handers. Well, he dominates righties, so their bats need to wake up against him. And the Tigers, they need to display some patience against Jackson. And Jackson has been a little wild lately, so they don't want to be too aggressive early in counts against Edwin this afternoon.
Could have used that scouting report last inning when they saw 8 pitches and went down in order. A.J. Przinsky now. A change to start him up. On the ground, second base. And second base has been a revolving door, to put it mildly, the last couple of years for the Tigers. Carlos Guillen, it sounds like, Rod, is going to be asked to play that position as long as he is physically able to the rest of the way.
That's the key. If Carlos is healthy, he hits from both sides. He hits close to 300 when healthy. That would be a huge boost to the lineup, not only from an offensive standpoint, but he's got great hands, too. He doesn't have the range that he once had when he was playing shortstop, but he's got some very good hands and obviously plenty enough arm strength to play second base.
Now one taken down and in by Gordon Beckham. We're getting some beautiful shots of this beautiful ballpark today. Up in the air, shallow right. No issues for Scherzer after the Carlos Quentin homer, but that Carlos Quentin homer, his first in more than 4 weeks, has made it 1-0. Tigers last night, even though they didn't win the game, Miguel Cabrera hitting a home run and getting his 1,500th career base hit. That off Gavin Floyd. Got a nice rousing ovation here at Comerica Park.
He's a bona fide superstar.
Who gave the Tigers quite a scare during the All-Star game, straining an oblique muscle, but this is a guy who's averaged 155 games a season in his big league career, has never been on the DL. He's pronounced himself fit and ready coming out of the All-Star break.
Yeah, since coming to the Tigers at the beginning of the 2008 season, he has been probably the most dangerous bat in the American League in that span. Home runs, RBIs, batting average, you name it. He does it.
Led the American League in runs batted in last year, 126 of them. Called a strike on the outside edge.
Real good pitch. 2-1 count. It's a dangerous fastball count. You can't throw the fastball by Cabrera, so Jackson went to his best pitch, which is the slider, and he caught the outside corner with it.
In the dirt to make it 3-2. Victor Martinez on deck.
Talking to A.J. Przinsky, the catcher for the White Sox before the game today, and I was asking him the key to Jackson this afternoon. And he said he had to have better control. When he has good control and attacks the strike zone, that allows him to get to his slider.
That one's down too low. Today's game presented by AT&T, sponsored by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. What's left of Tiger Stadium, we can see from our direct TV blimp. How about that? Can you imagine that it's only that now?
Wow.
But there's that flagpole in what was center field.
440 feet from home plate.
Still the best press box ever from which to do a game, but you had to be ducking. Those foul balls could get you. Infield, the double play depth. Victor Martinez taking strike one. And Rod, as we were talking earlier about the Venezuelan presence in this Tiger lineup, Victor Martinez wanted nothing more than to be the next Ozzie Guillen when he grew up. He was crushed when he got signed as a catcher. He wanted to be Ozzie.
I think he's found his niche, though.
.318 batting average this year. And primarily DHing. Now, last year, the Tigers' DHs homered about once every 76 at-bats, lowest rate in the league. They signed Martinez to try to change that dynamic, but he really hasn't hit for much power yet.
The one thing that he has provided a tremendous amount of protection behind Miguel Cabrera. That was the problem the Tigers had last year. Miguel, he got walked quite often. So they went out and got the guy they sought in the offseason to provide that protection, and Victor has been tremendous at that the first 3 months of the year.
Off speed, scrapes the outside corner. Well, and it's funny, too, Rod, because the Tigers really have a history of getting good players in the wrong years. Go back to Joe Randa or Luis Gonzalez, Juan Gonzalez. All players who excelled before or after they were here. Even Hideo Nomo threw no-hitters just before and just after he was in Detroit. But with Victor Martinez, it's like they got a real good player at just the right time. Socked to second base and on a hop. Got one, got two. Gordon Beckham has made only one error all year. The White Sox can dazzle you defensively.
He has been the best second baseman in the American League. There's no doubt about that. Here's a tremendous play. The ball is hit like a bullet off the bat of Victor Martinez, and somehow he makes the play. And obviously, with this combination of base runners, it was going to be an easy turn for the shortstop, Alexi Ramirez, once he got the feed from Gordon Beckham.
Brings up Johnny Peralta. And Peralta knocks one right into center field. Peralta coming off his first ever All-Star appearance. Tigers sending 5 players to Phoenix. Peralta was one of them. Here's Guillen now. Not Ozzie, but Carlos. And these fans appreciate that after a long wait, number 9 is back.
He has done nice work since putting on a Tigers uniform when he has been healthy.
The Tigers have gotten such little production from second base and third base this year. Now, last year, Guillen only played 68 games, and Roddy hit .273. He drove in 34. The Tigers have 68 games left this year starting tomorrow. So I guess we put it out there. If he can hit .273 again, do all that, is that the kind of production you're looking for?
Well, I think he has the ability to provide more production than that, Josh.
Pops this one into shallow left field. And corralled by Pierre to end the inning. We'll talk more about the Guillen return in a bit. We're back to Detroit after a word from your local Fox station. Saturday Baseball presented by AT We are in Detroit. Josh Lewin and Rod Allen. Our producer Carol Langley McDermott. Our director John Moore. The aerial coverage provided today by DirecTV to get the best offer of the year. Call 1-800-DIRECTV. Sox by a run as the top of the third begins. A Carlos Quentin home run, his 18th of the year, but the first that he's had in 4 weeks. That's why Chicago leads it. 9-1-2 on the order. Mark Tian chops it to Guillen. White Sox in today 45 and 48. They're 5 out. On Fox tonight, an all-new special examines chilling near-death experiences played out right before your eyes. Then we break it down to find out how they survived. The Indestructibles, an all-new special tonight at 9, 8 Central on Fox. Got the cornerman in, trying to take away the bunt. Juan Pierre, the batter. Mentioned the Sox are 3 games under 500. The Tigers are 5 games over. They're 1 behind Cleveland. And really, Rod, pretty much right where they were a year ago coming out of the All-Star break. Boy, with the third baseman drawn in, Don Kelly has a helpless feeling as that ball just winds by him, and Pierre is on again.
The Tigers are hoping for a much better start to this second half than they had last year. As soon as the All-Star break was over last year, they went to Cleveland for a 4-game series and was swept and really never recovered from that.
Yeah, they lost 6 straight overall coming out of the break, and they slid from a first-place tie to 13 games out by season's end.
Well, first time Alexi Ramirez was up, he was given the sack bunt by his manager, Ozzie Guillen, to get Juan Pierre into scoring position. We'll see if he's doing that again.
Not yet.
I told you earlier that the White Sox really don't have a number 2 hitter, a guy that is willing to take enough pitches to allow Juan Pierre to do what he does best, and that's steal bases. Alexi Ramirez is a very aggressive hitter.
Gene Lamont goes through another set of signs down there in the third base coaching box. Looking very Wilbur Woodish in these jerseys today is Gene Lamont.
That uniform is not doing Gene Lamont a whole lot of favors. Actually, that's Coxie down there right now.
Oh, that's right. It's Cox down there.
Cox.
And Harold Baines, the first base coach, a guy that was drafted in the same draft class as Rod Allen. You were a former White Sox minor league stud.
Harold looks pretty good in his uni.
He does.
Well, it's kind of hard for Harold to make anything look bad, though. Tremendous man.
One-time roommate of yours in the minors, right?
Yes. One of my first roommates.
Pierre is going. Good pitch on which to be running, but a great throw makes it close. Pierre steals it. Avila almost got it. And Jim Leyland is coming out to question the wisdom of Gary Darling out there at second base.
Real nice exchange here to the throwing hand by Avila, and he threw the ball right on the bag, and it's a very nice job by the second baseman, Carlos Guillen, of straddling the bag, allowing the ball to travel all the way and applying the tag to Pierre, and it looks like they may have gotten it.
Well, you had mentioned earlier Pierre has been very close to a 50-50 proposition this year, stealing bases. But he does get that one. He and Omar Vizquel. Of course, Omar doesn't run quite the way he used to anymore, but a couple of guys with big base stealing totals on this Chicago team. Rod, you talked about it. The Tigers stumbled out of the All-Star break last year and went reeling from there. Jim Leyland's aware that people are written about, and they're talking about, blogging about the fact that his teams don't do that well in the second half lately. Slowly hit up near third. Pierre is not tagged. They do get Ramirez at first base. But Don Kelly had a decision to make here and a lunge to attempt to try to get Pierre.
Over aggressive base running from second base by Juan Pierre, but he was fortunate enough not to be tagged out by Don Kelly. But as a rule of thumb, when the ball is hit in front of you and you're at second base and the ball's to your right, you stay at second base. But because of his speed, he was able to get past Kelly before the ball got in his glove.
RBI chance for Paul Konerko. And just to finish the thought, Leland, in his time in Detroit, 30 games under 500 after the All-Star break. One thing that may help this time, he had a friendly schedule the rest of the way.
He also has some really good players. Victor Martinez, Cabrera, Verlander, Valverde. As you mentioned, 5 All-Stars.
Leland spent time in Chicago. Some of you might remember he was Tony La Russa's right-hand man, was a bench coach there. And actually, when Tony La Russa was suspended for a couple games in 1985, Jim Leland got his managerial feet wet as a Chicago White Sox skipper. He was 1-1 managing the Chicago White Sox in '85. As a matter of fact, the first time he went to use a pinch hitter, the guy that he went and called on is now the White Sox hitting coach, Greg Walker.
Really?
Really, 1985. 1-1 against the Milwaukee Brewers was Jim Leland. No thanks to Greg Walker, who flied out. Konerko eyeballs strike 2. Remember, he took a called third strike back in the first inning. Pierre has been on base twice. Konerko trying to get him in. It's pretty remarkable about Paul Konerko's season when you think about it. The fact that White Sox fans had to really get going cranking out the internet voting just to get him in the All-Star game. You talk about an overlooked star in baseball, Paul Konerko.
Every single year, 30 to 35 home runs. He drives in 100 runs, and he's got some soft hands over at first base as well. He's an underrated defender.
Slashed into left field. He does get Pierre home. RBI number 68 this season. It's 2-0 Chicago.
And Konerko's first time up, Max Scherzer was able to freeze him on a fastball inside for strike 3. This time he went to a breaking ball, but he left the breaking ball up. And that's the reason why Paul Konerko was able to whistle that ball through the left side of the infield. What a player he has been in the White Sox uniform.
He's putting up numbers again that look very much like those of an MVP, but Konerko plainly says, we'll have none of that talk right now. It's July. And my team is under 500. Adam Dunn, the batter. The shift is on for him as Dunn will take a strike. I'll tell you what, Rod, these White Sox would not be under 500 if Adam Dunn was having the year that he's capable of having.
Well, Kenny Williams, the general manager, he had a message for Adam Dunn. And don't worry about your numbers the remainder of the way. Just come to the ballpark every single day and figure out a way to help your team win some games. That's what they want out of Adam Dunn the remainder of the way.
Well, he needed that decompression time back home in suburban Houston. Said he just sat by the pool. The 160 batting average. Konerko is running. And a line shot foul by Dunn. Boy, I tell you what, 5 years ago, you never would have seen Paul Konerko running, even 0-2 with 2 out. But he knows he's going to get the running jump here and figures why not.
he would have made it safely had that been a ball.
Guillen was looking at him like, what are you doing?
Paul Konerko must have got 8 hours sleep last night.
Dunn is down on the strikes. But a Paul Konerko 2-out single makes it 2-0 Sox on Fox. Avila is for the Negro League's tribute weekend here, the Detroit Stars, but he was an all-star among 4 other Tigers out there in Phoenix. I'm sure you saw the game on Fox on Tuesday night. It is 2-0 Chicago. Alex Avila, the son of the Tigers' assistant GM Al Avila, and grandson of Ralph Avila, who's here today.
That's his dad on the phone there with the sunglasses on and the black shirt.
The Avila family, will see if they react even a little. Nope, Dad is still on the phone. He's seen that one before.
Yeah, Dad's seen quite a bit of that. It must be a joy to be the assistant general manager and get an opportunity to watch your son play every single day. But take a look up top there, Ralph Avila, the gray-haired gentleman. That is the grandfather of Alex Avila. And Alex was telling me a story today, Josh, where the grandfather saw him play professionally for the very first time in the major leagues just the other day when he was at the All-Star game out in Arizona.
Now, Ralph has seen a lot of baseball. He used to be a vice president for the Dodgers, legendary scout. Why is that they wouldn't have done that before?
That's exactly what I was asking Alex today, and he said his grandfather just kind of superstitious. He kind of felt like every time he would show up to the ballpark, Alex wouldn't play his best baseball. So he just kind of stayed away. But I guess after Alex made the All-Star team, Grandpa said, you know what? I can go out to Arizona and watch my grandson play.
Don Kelly, the hitter. Alex Avila, the godson of Tommy Lasorda. He and Mike Piazza share that in common, which is kind of cool. And really, statistically, I guess, Rod, the only catcher in the majors having a better year than Alex Avila right now is probably Atlanta's Brian McCann. He's
been steady. The Tigers didn't quite know what they were going to get out of Avila at the beginning of this year because he struggled from an offensive standpoint last year.
Kelly sails one towards center. One down here in the third, and the folks, baseball greats are coming together. Kicking off the Pepsi Max Field of Dreams promotion, where you and your friends could win a chance to play ball with Major League Baseball legends. Visit Pepsi Max Field of Dreams online to enter today. Remember, if you build it, they will come. That dirt strip, the All-Stars saw that out there in Phoenix as well at the All-Star game. Those are the two fields where they have that. Chase Field and Comerica Park. Andy Dirks is the hitter and playing because Austin Jackson still has that wrist problem. And it sounds like it's possible, Rod, that they could backdate a DL stay for Austin Jackson if he doesn't recover by tomorrow.
It's starting to look that way. If they're going to err on any side, it's going to be on the side of caution with a very young, talented player like Austin Jackson.
Line shot right field. Going to be two men on as Andy Dirks got all over that pitch.
Appeared to be a hanging breaking ball. And a lot of times those hangers don't make it to the catcher's glove, especially against an aggressive left-handed batter like Andy Dirks.
Well, the Tigers down by 2 have the go-ahead man at the plate. That's Brennan Bosch. Bosch had a miserable second half a year ago, but well, the last 3, maybe 4 weeks for him this year as a Tiger. This is as well as he can be swinging the bat.
He almost made the All-Star team last year. That's how well he was performing when he got called up from the minor leagues. And there are many in the game today, Josh, that feel like he basically went through that sophomore jinx the second half of last year and kind of got that out of the way. And in 2011, Brennan Bosch has been tremendous. And he's batted second. He's batted third a lot in front of Miguel Cabrera.
Bosch with a 300 batting average. There's a bunch of Tigers really starting to get those batting averages hiked up there. In terms of everyday players with the batting average in the 300s, remember batting averages across the board are down in the major leagues this year.
The Tigers have some guys that have done it for a long time. Career 300 hitters in Miguel and Victor. And of course, Magglio Ordonez is a career 300 hitter, not doing that this year, only batting .216. But if they get Magglio going the way that they feel like they can get him going, and we've already talked about Carlos Guillen, this will be one of your better offensive clubs in the American League.
Ordonez on deck and usually hits Edwin Jackson very well. Hit one right off his leg, as a matter of fact, in the first inning. Good pitch by Jackson, just dive bombing down around the shoe tops of Bosch.
That's that wipeout slider. That's the pitch that A.J. Przinsky loves to call. But in order for Jackson to get to that pitch, there has to be some efficiency with the fastball early in counts, and that's exactly what he was able to do to Brennan Bosch.
And Jackson has a chance here to avoid what Tiger fans will remember as sometimes an issue, that one big inning, that 130, 35 pitch inning that just seems to tax him and get him out of there by the 5th or the 6th. Chop to third. Only one pitch necessary there to get Ordonez. By the way, Justin Verlander will be visiting with us when we return. It is 2-0 Chicago over Detroit. Sponsored by Ford, drive one. And by Geico, 15 minutes can save you 15% or more on car insurance. Downtown Detroit, Comerica Park, the site of today's game between the White Sox and the Tigers. The Tigers lost 8-2 yesterday. Chicago's got them so far this afternoon, 2-0. Max Scherzer on the mound. Well, the White Sox came out swinging the bats last night and did that against arguably the top pitcher in the American League. Justin Verlander had a rocky inning right around this time of the ball game yesterday. What an odd way to lead into talking about Justin Verlander. Sorry, Justin, I was hoping to give you a better lead in than that. But let's talk about yesterday real quick. What was up with yesterday?
Left a couple breaking balls up, and the one big inning they had, some broken bat hits and some balls that found holes, and one hard hit ball. Juan Pierre had a bunt. So that's the game of baseball. Sometimes balls don't have to be hard to find green grass out there, and next thing you know, it's a big inning.
Justin, it looked like to me last night for the first time in a long, long time that the command with the breaking ball just wasn't there. Did you feel that way as well?
Not really. I didn't throw as much as I would have liked. Looking back at it, I probably should have thrown a little bit more breaking balls, and that's how I usually get a better feel for it throughout the course of a game. But, there was a couple that were left up, but most of the time, you're going to leave up a few in the course of a game. Hopefully they're foul balls or pop-outs, but, everything is under a microscope at this level, and you leave a few up and then they're base hits, and that turns into a big inning, and then all of a sudden everybody's looking at that saying, you left breaking balls up, and that was the problem.
So your ERA ballooned to 2.29, which is still pretty darn good. You got to be thrilled with how this year has gone for you.
Feeling pretty good. My whole emphasis this year was to have a better April and kind of fast track everything in spring training, be very results oriented, and really focus hard. And I really felt like that carried over. My April wasn't stellar, but it was better than it has been in the past, and I feel like that carried over into the latter months up to the All-Star break, and that's why I was a little bit better and more consistent.
Carlos Quentin with a base hit right there. He's now 2 for 2 and had 3 hits yesterday. So, Justin, year after year, you are right up there, if not leading the league in number of pitches thrown. You're certainly top 3 or top 4. Is that a point of pride for you?
Yeah, it is. I work extremely hard in the offseason to be able to do that, and hard during the season, but it's kind of an old school mentality. Go out there and just grind it out until the skipper comes and gets me. And I feel like over the years I've earned a little bit of respect from Leland, and he lets me go out there and he gives me a little bit longer leash than he has in the past, and I really appreciate it. And I think I've done some good things for him. Let me do that.
Justin, you talked about the fact that you wanted to get off to a better start this year in the month of April. Obviously, that didn't happen this year. It was still a pretty good April, but not nearly as well as May and June. What did you do in the offseason to get you ready for this year? Did you change anything?
Yeah, I didn't change my workout schedule or anything. I feel like I've been pretty strong the last few years towards the end of the season, so I maintained that. I did the same sort of workouts. But pitching-wise, as soon as I got off the mound in early February, started throwing bullpens. I was very serious as soon as I got on there. Like I said, very results-oriented. And I approached every bullpen, and then rolling into spring, every spring start, like it's a major league start, not just saying, okay, my arm felt good, I'm ready to go. If something's not right, I really focused on fixing it right then and there, and then, moving forward and getting better that way throughout spring training.
Justin Verlander visiting with us. Alex Rios striking out. A.J. Pierzynski comes up next. All right, you've got to be somewhat politically correct, but we're Fox, and what the heck, I'm going to ask it. A.J. Pierzynski is a polarizing player. Do you have particular thoughts on A.J. Pierzynski?
You look at him between the lines. He's a good player. He's a good catcher. I don't really know him personally. I know every now and again I hear him chirping and saying something. I've just learned to kind of ignore him.
Very politically correctly answered, yeah. The strike taken by the Pierzynstigator, A.J. Pierzynski.
Justin, what is it going to take for the Tigers the second half of the year to maintain some of the consistency that they have had the first half of the year?
Well, I think a key piece is somebody you see out there for the first time this year is Carlos Guillen. I think he's a great acquisition for this club. Coming off of an injury, hopefully he returns to form that we all know that he can do. And it all starts with starting pitching. If we go out there every 5 days and give our guys a chance, we got a lineup that's built to score some runs. So, you keep us in the game and amazing things will happen. We got a great mix of veterans and young guys, and I think we're very well suited to have a good second half.
Max Scherzer going at it today. And there's been a lot of talk, obviously, Justin. Here you are with the ERA in the 2.2s. The rest of the starters are about 4.8. But there's some talent in that rotation.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of talent. And I don't think you've seen the guys pitch up to their potential. There's been flashes, but it's just the consistency. And, not many of these guys have a lot of years in, and I think that kind of comes with it. But I think, rolling into the second half here, I think you're going to see him get better every time out. And, obviously you see Max today. He's got tremendous stuff. Ricky as well, Brad. Everybody can really go out there at any given time and really give us a chance to win. So, it's just getting on a momentum, getting on a streak with all the starting pitchers. We all kind of build off of each other. So you start getting in a string where, 2, 3, 4 guys in a row go out there and pitch well, then that just kind of carries over and gives the next guy that added momentum.
Justin, talk about your young receiver for a moment as we get a look at this last fastball by Max Scherzer thrown right by A.J. Przinsky. Alex Avila, he appears to have matured quite a bit from last year.
Yeah, it's been tremendous seeing what he's done back there. He doesn't have a lot of time behind the plate catching. He didn't even catch his whole college career, and he only had 1 year in the minor league, so he doesn't have a lot of time. And learning at this level is tremendously difficult. The game is so fast up here. Having to learn all the facets of catching, which is probably the most difficult position in Major League Baseball. You can't say anybody's worked any harder than he has, and he's gotten leaps and bounds better. Every start, you can see the progression of him behind the plate. Obviously, I think everybody knew he was going to hit, but I think everybody's been very pleased with what he's done behind the plate, and that's how you earn our respect. All the starting pitchers, he works his tail off, and that's all you can ask for.
Carlos Quentin, the base runner. Rios and Przinsky striking out after that leadoff single. Gordon Beckham now. A 2-0 lead for Chicago. I got to ask you this last question, Justin, and again, thank you for your time today. How's that uniform feel? It looks good.
Yeah, it's light and airy. It's pretty good. I don't think I mind pitching in these things. Maybe I can order some extra big regular uniforms.
Looking good, buddy. Thank you so much for visiting with us. Appreciate you very much.
Guys, not a problem.
All right. That is Justin Verlander as a pitch fouled by Beckham. He talks like an all-star, too.
He's a special talent. There's no doubt about that. Blessed with the ability to throw 100-mile-per-hour fastball with the kind of precision that he's able to do it with. A curveball, a changeup, a slider. And very confident on the mound as well.
On the ground, third base, Kelly backing up. Going the short way to end the inning. It stays 2-0 Chicago. presented by AT&T. Josh Lewin, Ron Allen with you from Detroit, where it's 2-0 White Sox today. And Miguel Cabrera will take ball one from the former Detroit Tiger, Edwin Jackson. Anytime the Tigers and White Sox play, are reminded that the White Sox thought that they were going to be trading for Miguel Cabrera. They thought they were going to get Cabrera and Edgar Renteria, but Dave Dombrowski, former White Sox assistant, former Marlins GM, got the former Marlins, Renteria and Cabrera, to come to Detroit. Cabrera and Ozzie Guillen are very tight. When Ozzie Guillen found out that the Tigers had traded for Cabrera instead, he was very disappointed. Called home to tell his wife that news, and his wife said, "I know, I've got his wife with me in the car right now." As a matter of fact, just picking her up at the airport.
Well, Ozzie Guillen had a chance to watch Miguel Cabrera up close and personal when he was coaching third base for the world champion Florida Marlins in 2003.
Cabrera unloads towards center, but it's 420 out there. Well, let's talk about that for a sec, Rod, because if Ozzie Guillen doesn't come back to Chicago, there are a lot of people saying that, boy, going back to the Florida Marlins, helping them open up their beautiful new ballpark, boy, that makes some sense.
Well, it's the worst kept secret in baseball, really, because there are a lot of people that believe that that's where Ozzie will end up at. But he's had a tremendous career in Chicago, and I know the people of Chicago absolutely adore him. He does some things a little unconventional from time to time, but the one thing you can't take away from Ozzie is the fact that they win games.
Victor Martinez, the batter. Would you believe, Rod, that in terms of current managerial tenure with one team, there are only 3 major league managers that have outlasted Ozzie Guillen?
They're pretty good managers, too.
Got Tony La Russa, 15 years with St. Louis. Mike Scioscia with the Angels is at 11. Ron Gardenhire, 9 straight with Minnesota. This is Ozzie's 8th straight year in Chicago. But as combustible as he is, the odds of that years ago, I think a lot of people would have said, no, I'm not putting my money down on Ozzie lasting that long.
I think at the end of the day, you have to give a lot of credit to the general manager, Kenny Williams, because he's the one that gets the players for Ozzie Guillen. And at some point in time during the course of the year, Ozzie seems to get them all on the same page, and they play competitive baseball. That's what they're hoping to do the second half of this year.
Well, the scoring punch just hasn't been there. Though they did break out against Verlander yesterday, scored 8 runs.
That's why a lot of people believe that the White Sox are a very scary team in the American League Central, because from an offensive standpoint, they have not played up to their level yet. Whereas the Tigers, they've had some nice stretches. They had some nice pitching early. The offense has clicked pretty much all year. The bullpen's been good. The Cleveland Indians, they've had a great bullpen all year. That's how they've stayed in the race. But many believe the White Sox have not played up to their potential yet, and that is coming.
Upstairs to Victor Martinez, 2 balls, 2 strikes. I'm sure you could see it from that shot, exactly where that pitch crossed home plate.
Victor Martinez is very good with 2 strikes. He has had no problem hitting American League pitching with 2 strikes this year. As a matter of fact, the best in the American League.
On the ground slowly towards first. Time for a DirecTV game break. It's 2-0 here. See what's going on at Tampa Bay with John Lackey on the mound. Matt Joyce, what a year he's had. Former Tiger prospect. B.J. Upton will single. 3-0 at Tampa Bay, but the Red Sox come back with 5. 5-3 our score now. Well, the Red Sox currently have a lead of 5 over Tampa Bay. Ball and a strike to Peralta. We mentioned he ended up at the All-Star game and did so when Derek Jeter said, "I'm not going." Story that got no traction nationally at all.
He really should have made the All-Star team from the beginning, but obviously there are a lot of players that are deserving that don't get on the roster immediately. But somehow, some way, Josh, it just appears that all the players that really deserve to go at some point in time, they get there.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing. Former Tiger legend Kirk Gibson never played in an All-Star game. He was MVP in 1988, but never played in an All-Star game. Got to coach in one now. By the way, Alex Rodriguez out. We'll see how the Yankees keep going in that dynamic. But Derek Jeter with a couple of hits today, up to 3,007 for his career. Peralta with a base hit in the center, and I bring that up, Rod, because he's now tied with a guy we've already seen sitting in a very important seat today. Al Kaline retired with 3,007 base hits, so Derek Jeter is now right there with the legendary number 6 here in Detroit.
And I know Derek Jeter has a tremendous amount of respect for Mr. Tiger. That's what they call him around here, Al Kaline.
One of the classiest guys in baseball still.
No question about that.
Carlos Guillen rolling one. Base hit into right field. Peralta jams on the brakes. Now the Tigers, who have had base runners in the second, the third, and the fourth, just haven't scored yet. It brings up Alex Avila.
That appeared to be a changeup, but it was down at the bottom of the strike zone. As a matter of fact, the last 2 base hits, the one by Peralta and also that one by Carlos Guillen, not bad pitches by Edwin Jackson. And Beckham, who's only made 1 error this year, took a great angle to get to that baseball, and he just missed it.
Now the Tigers had the go-ahead run at the plate twice last inning. And now here they go again in the fourth with the All-Star Avila. Into left, Juan Pierre has got it. And the former Tiger Edwin Jackson keeps that shutout intact. He has scattered 5 singles today. It stays 2-0. friends in America. Find out how to play and register your crew at bandofbuds.com. Josh Lewin, Rod Allen, the two best friends that anyone could have from Detroit. And a 2-0 lead for the visiting White Sox today. Our thanks once again to Justin Verlander, who joined us on air last inning. We are equal opportunity lenders. Jake Peavey will join us in just a bit. There is a play at second base turned in by Carlos Guillen, who's making his season debut today and showing off some range.
Well, one of the things that Scherzer has been able to do in this game is get some of the left-handers to roll over toward Carlos Guillen, and because of that, he's made a few plays. He got a nice hop there going to his right. And we talked about his arm strength. He came up as a shortstop, so he has plenty of that.
Turning 36 years old soon. He's obviously lost a lot of range. He's been injured a lot in his career. Here's Pierre, who's been on base a couple times.
That has been the one knock on Carlos Guillen, especially the last 3 or 4 years. They have not been able to keep him healthy.
Could he coach or manage someday when he's done?
I think if he had a desire to do so, I think he's been a student of the game, and he could do something like that if he wanted.
Those creaky knees have made his shortstop days kind of a faded memory. Right inside the bag, and Juan Pierre is on for a third time. Boy, every time you blink in this game, there's Juan Pierre standing at second base somehow.
And really the last couple of weeks, he has been performing quite well for his team. Not a bad pitch by Scherzer. He crowds him with a fastball inside. He jams him, as a matter of fact, but with one hand, he appeared to pull his hands inside, and Cabrera couldn't knock it down, and now Juan Pierre standing on second base. Eager to steal third base, however.
Boy, he looked like Tony Womack in the World Series about 10 years ago, turning on that like
Mariano
he just
Rivera
did.
Cut fastball.
Well, you mentioned Pierre is a guy that doesn't mind stealing third on you. Alex Avila's the catcher. And Scherzer is mindful of Pierre.
Scherzer doesn't throw to the bases all that often, whether there be a base runner on first base or second. He usually doesn't pick. But what he does do is he holds the ball while standing on the mound to try to disrupt the timing of the base runner. You don't have to have a great pickoff move to slow down the base runners. Juan Pierre a little upset with himself. I think he felt like he had the right secondary lead, which would have allowed him to steal that base.
Ramirez pops this one, heading towards the crowd. Scherzer's an interesting guy to watch, a former Arizona Diamondback. Let's take a good look at him. The one thing that is a little bit different about him, he's got two different colored eyes. Totally harmless condition known as heterochromia. One blue eye, one brown eye. Dan Aykroyd's got that. Kiefer Sutherland's got that. He's in good company. Alexander the Great, we're told, had that.
Real good company.
Yeah, except his slider was nothing. Alexander the Great. St. Louis native Max Scherzer attended the University of Missouri. Now he's going to call Alex Avila out to have a conference. Juan Pierre at second base kind of throws you off a little bit.
He really does. Anytime you have speed on the base paths, it disrupts the timing of the pitcher. And obviously the catcher, and he knows from time to time he has to rush. And sometimes you see errant throws from catchers when you have good base stealers like Juan Pierre on the base paths. And it also causes the pitchers to make mistakes in the strike zone.
Ramirez shooting that one foul. Well, Ozzie Guillen is one of the biggest Juan Pierre fans out there, sometimes much to the disdain of some White Sox fans. They don't want him out there every game. Ozzie Guillen does, and here's why Ozzie likes him.
Well, when he gets on base, you can see he steals third base, infield hits, bunt hits, getting the most out of his legs.
Here's the heterochromia condition we were talking about with Max Scherzer, by the way. There goes Pierre. Avila with a quick fumble and can't get it away. So there is that steal of third that you told us to watch for.
He's a fearless base stealer, and that's what you have to be if you're going to steal as many bases as he has been able to steal. Take a look at the secondary lead. That's the key. You have to get some momentum carrying you toward that next base if you're going to steal third successfully, and he stole that base rather easily.
Infield's got to come in now. 2-2 the count to Ramirez, just one out. 2-0 Chicago.
If Scherzer locates his slider, he can get a swing and miss here of Ramirez, who's very aggressive on that pitch.
Ooh, close. Well, if you throw the slider now on what is 3-2 and Ramirez lays off, you got runners at the corners, one out. Konerko is always a double play candidate, but he's also third in the league in runs batted in.
That's okay, though. That might be the best way to get out of this situation. You got to make a pitch, though.
There is that slider with the infield in. Pierre's got a hold.
In my opinion, in that situation right there, that's why sometimes you don't tell the base runner to read the play. You tell him either you're going or you're staying. Had Pierre been told you're going on the ground on this particular play, he scores, because take a look at Peralta, the shortstop. He takes about 3 or 4 steps to his left. He has to reach up. There would have been no way for him to throw Pierre out at home plate if Pierre was coming on contact. But that sometimes the third base coach relays the message to the base runner from the manager, make it be through the infield. You don't get a good jump.
Up and Pierre stayed put. We left to Konerko to save the inning here. He did that in the third. He got a 2-out base hit. The Sox are just 1 for 9 with men on base today. The only hit was the one by Konerko. Heading back into what looks like a sellout crowd again here in Detroit. Boy, there was such a buzz at the ballpark yesterday. The Tigers had Justin Verlander on the mound. They're a half a game out of first. Well, the White Sox kind of pulled the plug last night, winning 8-2.
Yeah, give the White Sox some credit. They did something against Verlander that not many teams have been able to do the last couple of months.
Towards right center field. It's a long run in for Mags Ordonez. He's got it. White Sox now 1 for 10 with men on base. Jake Peavey will join us. Talk to the Chicago pitcher in a moment. AT&T Rethink Possible. Beautiful day here in Detroit. The Tigers, who lost 8-2 yesterday, are trailing 2-0 this afternoon. Former Tiger Edwin Jackson pitching a 5-hitter. 9-1-2 in the batting order. It starts with Don Kelly. And speaking of starting, Jake Peavey was supposed to be doing that sooner than later, but now the very talented Mr. Peavey going to go Tuesday in Kansas City instead of here in Detroit. With a busted bat bouncer back to Jackson. Let's get the latest from Jake Peavey himself. How are you feeling, Jake Peavey?
You know what, I'm getting there. It's been a long past year for myself, but I feel blessed to have a uniform on. I'm about a year out of surgery now, and had some ups and downs. But the bottom line is, for about the last month and a half, been back with the boys. Had some good times, had some bad times. But I'm starting to this break. I think All-Star break came at a good time, and I'm going to jump back in the rotation. Hopefully, can get my feet and arm under me and help the boys in the second half.
Well, you jumped in your first ever regular season relief appearance, a game that we had on Fox in Chicago a couple of weekends ago. And you were unbelievable. The slider, everybody was saying, boy, that's about the best we've seen Jake Peavey in forever. But coming off of that, obviously the statistics haven't been great. Did that 4-inning relief outing take something out of you?
Well, there's no doubt about it. It played in as Edwin gets ground ball to second there. No doubt about it. It certainly, my body had a hard time recovering the start in Colorado and the two right before the break. Certainly, physically just didn't have it, and stuff wasn't there, and obviously the numbers showed. But no excuse, just didn't get it done. I was awfully excited to throw in that relief appearance and help the team win a tight ball game there in a game we needed. But certainly it might have been pushing the envelope, but. Nothing hurt in the long run. We had healthy, and like I said, the break's going to give us some time to get back in the back end of this rotation and hopefully help.
Jake, when John Danks comes back, and I believe he takes the ball after you in Kansas City, you might have to stay around for another half inning.
Yeah, we got more to talk to you about. Can you stay for one more question?
Absolutely.
Had a 6-pitch inning, for golly's sake. All right, more with Jake Peavey in just a moment on Fox. Proud to support youth baseball across the country. And by Rise of the Planet of the Apes, August 5th, only in theaters. Adam Dunn will lead it off. It is 2-0 White Sox. Jake Peavey was visiting with us. We're holding him over just to finish up talking about, Rod, you were asking Jake about all the pitching that the White Sox have. And, yeah, John Danks is getting set to come back, and that only makes you guys better.
You feel like that six-man rotation will help you stay a little bit healthier the second half of the season, Jay?
You know what? I certainly think so. I think it helps all of us, and you know, we were just blessed around here to have 6 very good arms. Philip Humber's been a huge lift to this ball club. You know, he kind of, you know, got thrown in the mix and won a spot in spring training and been as good as anybody in the American League for us. And so it's been a real nice surprise and a true #1 starter. And like I said, anytime you can find somebody like that, along with Burley, and you see the stuff that Edwin Jackson possesses. Gavin Floyd's outstanding last night. We have a lot of guys that give us a chance to win and can go out and really win us a ball game on any given night. And you know, so I feel blessed to have a staff like this, and that's why I think this team really wants to get the playoffs so bad, because we do feel like we have the pitching that can make good things happen.
Adam Dunn up there with a 2-ball, 2-strike count. Carlos Quentin will follow. And Adam Dunn down on strikes for the second time today.
Jake, I know you guys in that clubhouse down there really feel like you haven't played your best baseball yet, but still you're in this division. You guys really kind of feel good about yourselves right now, don't you?
We do. I mean, you know, as bad as things have went there for a little while, you know, we still have a chance. 5 games out going into the day. We've got to beat these teams in front of us. Got to win in the division. We know that. And, you know, we certainly haven't played our best baseball. And a lot of people talk about, you know, how poorly the first half went. You know, we got off to 11-22 start, which is awful. But since then, we climbed our way almost back to 500. We're 8, 9, 10 games over 500 since that point in time. Anybody would take that. We just got off to such a bad start. You know, when you lose 1 or 2 in a row and your record is what it is, you know, the media kind of counts you out. But since that 11-22 start, we've played pretty consistent baseball. But we still know that we got more in the tank. We got, you know, a good run ahead of us, and you know, we like our guys. We got a bunch of veteran guys that's been through long seasons before, and think we can make it happen here.
Quentin grounds out, and before we say goodbye to you, Jake, just a quick pop for the charity event that you've been putting together the last couple of years down in spring training, getting athletes up on stage to show off their musical talent. And I'm looking up and down your bench. Is Gordon Beckham the one teammate that went up there and represented the best this past March?
You know, he did. Gordon had a blast. You know, I love music. Music's a huge passion of mine. We played guitar, you know, to the wee hours this past morning here in Detroit with some good buddies. And to be able to team that up with raising money for good causes and having guys like Gordon, Barry Zito, and guys around the league to come together. Bernie Williams came and played, and we raised a lot of money, having a good time and having a good night, and changed people's lives. So I'm once again just fortunate to be a part of a great organization and a great event.
What did Beckham sing for you, by the way?
He sang the Eagles' "Take It Easy," a crowd favorite, and the crowd got into it and sang with us.
Nice. All right, well, don't let the sound of your own wheels drive you crazy, Jake. Thank you. Thanks for everything. All right, man, take care. 2-0, Chicago over Detroit. Nothing White Sox. They had an 8-2 win in their pocket yesterday. The Tigers lost their first 6 coming out of the All-Star break a year ago, so there's some angst for those in the know here in Detroit. But you have some Venezuelan sluggers coming up here. The Tigers have Ordonez, Cabrera, and Victor Martinez. We'll see if Edwin Jackson can keep on keeping on. 5 singles allowed today, Rod Allen. That's it.
Even when Jackson has gotten himself into fastball counts this afternoon, he hasn't given in to the Tigers hitters.
Cue shot, second base. And the rough year continues for Mags Ordonez. 0 for 3 today, now hitting .214 for the year. During the State Farm Home Run Derby, baseball's biggest sluggers went to bat for a number of charities, including Boys and Girls Club of America. Go to bat for your favorite cause and help them get to a better state. That's 9 ground ball outs, by the way, for Edwin Jackson.
He has pitched an outstanding game here this afternoon. That's exactly what his pitching coach, Don Cooper, wanted to see. He's attacking the zone with real good fastballs. And as I was saying before the ground out of Maglio, even when he's fallen behind the Tigers, he has still gone to his breaking ball pitch in that particular count.
Cabrera in left field, and Juan Pierre cuts it off and fires. There's Cabrera digging for 2. He's in there. He's got it. You got a slow runner, but not a great thrower.
Miguel Cabrera is such a smart hitter. He knows that Jackson has gotten himself into a pattern by throwing breaking balls and fastball counts. He gets out in front of one, and he's got tremendous legs and leverage from the waist down, and that's where you get that bat speed come from. And every time the balls hit the left field, they will challenge the arm of Juan Pierre. He does not throw very well. Right about now, he's knowing that Pierre has the ball, but the scouting report on Pierre is one that they're going to challenge him all afternoon.
Tigers do not have a hit with a runner in scoring position since the All-Star break. They didn't have one yesterday. They don't have one yet today. But here is Victor Martinez, who has excelled in this situation all year. Martinez hitting above .400 with runners in scoring position. Arrived at the All-Star break leading the major leagues. That one rung up as a strike. White Sox scoring in the 2nd and the 3rd. Tigers threaten here in the 6th. Johnny Peralta on deck, and he's 2 for 2 today.
And Jackson overthrowing right now. A couple of fastballs in the pitch sequence to Victor Martinez have been up in the strike zone at 97 miles an hour. That elbow is starting to drop a little bit.
That one down. A little kick save there from A.J. Brzezinski. It's a mid-60s pitch count for Jackson. Very reasonable, working here in the 6th inning, where, by the way, the shadows are starting to creep across the infield.
Talking to some of the players during batting practice today, and they said about this time, about the 5th or the 6th inning, it was going to become very difficult to see here at Comerica Park.
That is up and in. And Peralta has his shot now. 2 on, just 1 out. Well, you saw from that blimp shot, one of those toothbrush-looking light standards. The shadow of that is essentially right over home plate for now.
and the pitcher appears to be in sunlight. So the ball's going from light to dark. And Jackson also throws 97 miles an hour.
Now you got some light, dark happening right there. Now Peralta, year after year, is a guy that seems to hit a lot of hard ground balls to the left side of the infield, which makes it problematic sometimes when it's 2 on and 1 out. You can induce a ground ball double play, I guess is where we're going with this. And Edwin Jackson, if he can get that done, will keep this shutout intact.
Well, Johnny, in this particular situation with already a couple of base hits, will be looking to go right back up the middle. And Lloyd McClendon, their hitting coach, he worked tirelessly with Johnny Peralta in spring training on that.
Clipped back towards Jackson. That moves the runners. Well, Carlos Guillen will have a chance now to tie the game with a base hit. If that base hit happens to be a home run, Detroit takes the lead, but mostly ground balls, what we've seen from Edwin Jackson today.
Edwin has worked at the bottom of the strike zone for the most part, and he has changed speeds very effectively with the slider and also the changeup, and that's one of the reasons why he's gotten a lot of the Tigers batters to roll over on ground balls today.
Long rehab assignment down in the minor leagues and now pronounced fit and ready to go today.
That's a filthy slider right there by Jackson. Unhittable pitch. Take a look at the depth on this pitch. It looks like a fastball coming out of his hand, and it stays on the fastball plane until you start your swing, and then all of a sudden the ball disappears on you, but it's too late by then to hold up your swing.
Ground ball, first base, big hop. Taken by Konerko, and still Jackson has that shutout. It is 2-0. We'll be back after a word from your local Fox station. Saturday baseball presented by AT&T. The Tigers have not scored in 11 innings. And today the Chicago White Sox lead 2-0. It's looking like The White Sox, the Tigers, the Indians, and maybe even the Minnesota Twins will jockey for the next couple of months. A.J. Pierzynski fouls one, the 7th inning underway.
I think when the season began, most experts out there, they thought the Tigers, the White Sox, and the Minnesota Twins would compete for the division. They did not think the Cleveland Indians would be in it, but Manny Acta has been tremendous this year and probably manager of the year as we speak in the American League.
Pierzynski all but took that one right off of the plate, Vlad Guerrero style. That's 6 straight set down now by Scherzer.
Pretty good breaking ball at the bottom of the strike zone. Looked like he took a little bit off that breaking ball. Had A.J. Pierzynski out in front, and A.J. didn't necessarily run full speed down the base pass, and that's why Cabrera was able to finish that play himself.
Tigers have excelled within the Central, and that's why they're as close to Cleveland as they are. Chicago not so much, 9-16. And they begin this so-called second half of the season with 12 straight games against the Central. 6 of those 12 brought against the Tigers.
And that's one of the things that Jim Leland said going into spring training. If his team was going to be in the hunt this year, somehow, some way, they had to figure out a way to beat the Minnesotas of the world and the Chicago White Sox of the world, because they weren't very good in that regard last year.
Chicago has had particular issues with Minnesota. The White Sox have lost 10 of their last 11 to the injury-ravaged Twins going back to last year. I think maybe as much as Cleveland being the kind of story you're talking about, Rod, the fact that Minnesota keeps hanging around with all the injuries they've had. And over in the National League, the story is Clint Hurdle's Pittsburgh Pirates. Those are teams you're just kind of wide-eyed about right now.
Well, Clint Hurdle, he's a tremendous communicator. And you knew as soon as he was hired as the manager after being the hitting coach last year for the Texas Rangers, that ball club was going to start to do a little bit better. And he's just such a positive manager. And if you surround really good motivators with good talent, you sometimes get guys to play a little bit above their capabilities.
18 straight losing seasons, though. You could have had Dr. Wayne Dyer in there as your manager, and it still wouldn't have mattered. But look at this. Pittsburgh is on top in the NL Central.
Amazing. Detroit Tigers have 3 former Pittsburgh Pirates managers in their dugout in Leland,
right,
Lamont, and Lloyd McClendon. So you know they're watching that situation very closely.
We're right about the time where the whole legendary Lloyd thing will come up again, right? The Little League World Series, people talk about Lloyd McClendon back in his Little League days in Indiana. Another foul here by Beckham.
There's Lloyd, his first year here with Jim Leland when Jim took over in 2006. He was the bullpen coach. But the last 4 years, he has been the batting coach here.
Another foul ball. Yeah, growing up in Gary, Indiana, Lloyd was a Little League World Series hero right around the same time the Jackson 5 was getting all the city's big headlines. The Jacksons went on to do their thing. McClendon went on to an 8-year playing career. Reds, Cubs, and Pirates. Look out. That was an odd sequence right there. Beckham ended up picking up the baseball and just kind of walking away with it after this happened to Avila.
It's a 94-mile-per-hour fastball that really doesn't change directions, and it hit him square in the mask and knocked it straight off.
Got the home plate umpire Alan Porter, too. They have 8 pitches in this at-bat so far, 5 foul balls. Finally, a base hit for Beckham. Boy, what a battle that was. Scherzer up and over 100 pitches now for the afternoon. Let's get you to a DirecTV game break. Red Sox and Tampa Bay having at it. And James Shields, who has had a fantastic year. Jacoby Ellsbury rocks him, though. It is a 6-3 lead for Boston at that point. Get every MLB game and the most in HD. Call 1-800-DIRECT-TV. Bottom of the order, Mark Teahen. The White Sox ahead 2-0. Left field and taking off. Getting beyond a lunging Bosch. Jeff Cox will hold Beckham at third after a long at-bat, and Beckham cashed in with a single. It's a quick at-bat for Teahen, who splits one into left for a double.
And Teahen a little tardy on the fastball away, but takes a proper direction with his hands, and Brennan Bosch had him shaded over in left center field and just couldn't get to it.
There is action in that Tiger bullpen now, too. 102 pitches for Scherzer.
Anytime Juan Pierre is standing in the batter's box and there's less than 2 outs, the squeeze has to be in the back of your mind if you're the manager, Jim Leyland.
Well, the infield comes in.
Something else that Pierre did last night, safety squeeze. He bunted the baseball on the ground, and then the base runner took off from third base after the ball was on the ground. It wasn't a suicide squeeze, it was a safety squeeze. But we well documented the fact that Pierre is a tremendous bunter.
That one fades away. Pierre, obviously, when you talk about a guy with all the tools, power is supposed to be one of them. Pierre's got 2 home runs the last 4 years, one of them in this ballpark. I would say you look 100 times more, right, for the bunt right now than you do the long ball.
No question about that.
Yeah, that's where you know it's in everybody's mind when there's a step off. Looking to runner back to third, second and third, first base open. Swinging, and he punches it to right. Ordonez has got it. Beckham coming home. Beckham is safe. And tagging up his Teahen as well.
I think Beckham left too early.
They're going to appeal it. He's out. You're right, Rod Allen. The run does not count. The inning is over.
He left too early. It's a good call.
Well, they couldn't have hurried that appeal anymore. You called it. On appeal, no run. We get to the 7th inning stretch with it being 2, not 3-0. sponsored by Michelin, a better way forward. By Burger King, now offering $1 frozen drinks. And by One A Day Men's, the official multivitamin of Major League Baseball. Brent Morel is now in the game at third base, and Gordon Beckham sheepishly walking around at second base. We'll show you exactly what happened just a couple minutes ago to keep this a 2-0 game. The White Sox thought it was 3. It is 2. And the Tigers, who haven't scored in 11 innings, get a break.
Well, he knows that Maglio doesn't have a strong arm, but he's very accurate. Therefore, he cheats just a hair. As the ball is getting in the glove of Maglio Ordonez, it appeared his foot was coming off the bag, and that's what Bruce Dreckman, the third base umpire, saw, and he didn't hesitate in calling Beckham out for leaving too soon.
Pretty close looking at the replay,
It
though.
really was.
That ball scored it over to short off the bat of Avila. Juan Pierre having lifted that ball to right field, thinking he's got an RBI. He's high-fiving, and then, wait, what?
What happened, he said.
Well, and Max Scherzer, whose pitch count was getting up there.
He loved it.
That's a nice free out. And 2-0 versus 3-0 at this stage of the game. That's pretty big.
Well, the Tigers, from an offensive standpoint, they have to figure out Jackson somehow this afternoon, who was pitching a whale of a ball game.
Softly in a center field, Don Kelly finds a way to get it done, the number 9 hitter.
It's a 97-mile-per-hour fastball in on the hands of Kelly, but Kelly somehow able to muscle that ball into shallow center field. It's a good, firm fastball. Great location.
Well, Jackson's not even at 80 pitches today. We're in the 7th inning, so he's looking
pitching,
strong. And
he's pitching like a number 1 today. Gavin Floyd also pitched a very good game for them last night. If they can get Gavin Floyd and Jackson, and when John Danks comes back, if he's healthy from that oblique injury, if they can get those 3 guys going, they're going to have a really good second half.
Top of the order, Andy Dirks.
The Tigers are very, very aggressive here against Jackson. First pitch swinging.
This game has seen 15 base hits, but only a couple of runs. He didn't feel the double play depth, but Dirk's a tough guy to double up. He's playing because Austin Jackson is still not ready to go because of that sore wrist.
That's a huge piece missing out of the Tigers starting lineup. I know Jackson not performing all that well offensively this year, but defensively, he doesn't give up anything when playing center field.
Still tough to figure out what to make out of these Tigers, Rod. On the one hand, they're a team with 5 All-Stars and maybe the best pitcher in the league in Justin Verlander. On the other hand, you look at them and they've got holes in the rotation. They're not getting any production from third base or second base. And it really could go either way right now as we hit mid-July. Dirk scrapes one towards left field. Juan Pierre finds it, kind of fighting it as he came in. Brennan Bosch will be the batter next week on Fox Saturday Baseball. These Tigers will take on the Twins, or the Braves battle the Reds, or you got the Padres taking on the NL East leading Phillies. Next week's telecast of Fox Saturday Baseball presented by AT&T begins at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific. Check local listings for the game and start time in your area.
You're absolutely right, Josh. It's a very difficult club to get a read on. You talked about the offensive weapons they have. You talked about Justin Verlander at the top of the rotation. They've got Jose Valverde at the back end of the game. He has been perfect this year in save opportunities, but they have to get more production out of the number 2 and number 3 starters. That would be Porcello and also Scherzer. And I know the Tigers will be looking for another arm before the trade deadline. They feel like they have to upgrade in that rotation.
Bouncing ball, second base, Beckham to Ramirez, and that's the inning. 2-0 White Sox at the end of 7. TV to get the best offer of the year. Call 1-800-DIRECT-TV.
That looks like fun, buddy.
That looks like Rod Allen's boat.
That looks like fun.
First pitch of the inning. It's a bare hand to pick up by Carlos Guillen as that ball kind of spun off the bat of Alexei Ramirez. And Carlos Guillen keeps getting tested in his return today.
That's exactly what happened. He got over in front of the ball, but when the ball hit the dirt because of the spin, it trickled to the right, and therefore he had to bare-hand it before firing it over to Miguel.
Just like Omar Vizquel used to take every single practice ball rolled his way back in his Seattle days. Pretty amazing that Omar is still performing at the level at which he is for Chicago.
I've never seen him get a bad hop. Now, that's how good he has been with the glove.
Paul Konerko's single back in the third is what made it 2-0. Breaking ball strike from Scherzer. But certainly Scherzer has pitched a very good ball game today. He's just been overshadowed by Edwin Jackson. Scherzer came in 10-4. And Jackson only 5-7. And it's funny when you talk about the Tigers maybe needing to add a pitcher. They had Edwin Jackson back in 2009. White Sox, you don't figure are trading in division though anytime soon.
No, I don't think so. But in order to, the reason why they got Jackson, Scherzer, is they had to trade Jackson to Arizona.
Both part of that three-way deal involving the Yankees, the Curtis Granderson trade.
Still kind of puzzling that Jackson has worn so many big league uniforms and he has so much talent.
Konerko trying to check his swing. He did. You're right. You look at him as electric as he's been today. The fact that he has been kind of moved along 5 times now in his career.
Yes. He's a free agent after this season, hoping to cash in. His agent is Scott Boras, so if he does his thing, more than likely he will cash in.
High fly ball off the bat of Konerko. And Miguel Cabrera makes that catch. Fox Sports proud to support Stand Up to Cancer and their work to fund groundbreaking research that helps accelerate treatment to patients. Stand up for someone you love. Visit standuptocancer.org/Fox Sports to learn more. Now here's Adam Dunn. And though he had that bases loaded single yesterday, that's pretty much all he's had coming out of the All-Star break. The batting average now at 159. Right now, Rod, there's no other conclusion you can make. So far, he is one of the biggest free agent busts Chicago has ever seen in any sport. But there's time to turn that around still.
Well, I don't know if there's time to really turn it around as far as the numbers are concerned, but he can make some major contributions to the second half if the bat does start to wake up and the power does show up, as it has in the past.
Since 04, only Albert Pujols has hit more home runs than Adam Dunn. And you have to kind of shake yourself and remember that, because the White Sox keep saying trust the back of his baseball card. And I think White Sox fans would like to do that, but boy, they sure like to see a higher batting average than 159.
He's just slow with his trigger. He doesn't appear to be getting the stabilization, from the waist down. You have to have firm base when you're generating any bat speed whatsoever. And he continues to get that front foot down tardy, and the bat speed's just not there, and fastballs are thrown right by him.
Yes, they are. Dunn has struck out 3 times today. Scherzer pitching very well, but that guy's been pitching better. It is 2-0 Chicago. TNT, sponsored by Viagra and by State Farm for auto, home, life, and banking. Get to a better state. We got a state on one side and a province on the other here in Detroit, Michigan. Windsor, Ontario on the other side of the river. Maglio Ordonez for the Tigers. They are trailing 2-0 here in the last of the 8th.
This has been a dominant pitching performance today by Edwin Jackson. That was only his 80th pitch of the afternoon.
Wow. Working in the 8th inning, but to the meat of the order here. A base hit, Maglio Ordonez. Miguel Cabrera comes up as a tying man. Cabrera accounting for both of the Tiger runs yesterday with a 2-run home run. Dug out of the dirt by Przinsky. So the Tigers now, Rod, have 8 hits, same total as Chicago. Only 1 double play turned by Chicago today. But Jackson has just kind of woven his way around trouble.
He's gotten a lot of ground balls, and the defenders have picked every last one of them. The White Sox come in with one of your better defensive clubs in the American League. That's Cabrera's numbers, 7th inning or later. 302, 6 home runs, 17 driven in.
Worm-burning ground ball. Ramirez gets one. Beckham staying on the bag. That is the 14th ground ball out for Jackson. And off the bat, it looked like that ball was going to find its way into left field. It did not.
Nice arm strength by Alexi Ramirez. He's made 11 errors this year, but take a look at the range that he shows here to get over to this ball. And he's already bracing himself with his feet to turn back towards second base. How he surrounds that ball, and he gives Beckham a really firm throw. And Beckham stretches out like a first baseman in that situation. He knows he's not going to turn 2. You simply want to get 1 out, so you stretch out as the second baseman to get that out. It's a good play by Ramirez.
That is Brent Morrell at third base, by the way. Came in last inning defensively for Tian. Boy, just on the corner of the bag. And now Victor Martinez. The 1 double play hit into today by the Tigers was off the bat of Martinez back in the 2nd. Look at that, 14 ground ball outs now.
Only 2 strikeouts. And that's one of the reasons why the pitch count is tremendous today for Jackson.
Boy, hops ahead of him 0-2. Tigers just 2 for 13 with men on base today. Had a bunch of base hits yesterday, Rod, but again lost the game by a half a dozen runs.
Couldn't come back. The White Sox had their hitting shoes on yesterday as well and scored quite a few runs.
With that win yesterday, the White Sox getting to within 3 games of 500. They're 45-48 right now. They're 5 back. Tigers are 49-44. They are 1 behind Cleveland.
And Ozzie Guillen knows first and foremost that no one's really going to take you seriously until you first get to 500 as a club.
On the ground, first base, here's Konerko. Got 1. Back to him. Got 2. Edwin Jackson and the Chicago White Sox still ahead 2-0. And the spotlight, and just as Edwin Jackson gives the Chicago White Sox the edge, you too can keep your edge with Just for Men mustache and beard. A lot of ground ball outs and not a lot of runs for these Detroit Tigers. In fact, none. It's 2-0.
He's been dominant. A great fastball. He's gotten up to 97 miles an hour. That wipeout slider, very few changeups he's needed today to get through 8 innings.
Only 2 walks, and that's helped. 87 pitches to get through 8 innings. Max Scherzer is done through 8. Jose Valverde, the closer, with nothing to close. Opens up against Carlos Quentin. It was Quentin's home run back in the second that made it 1-0 Chicago.
Jose Valverde has a tremendous split-fingered fastball, but he really hasn't thrown a lot of those pitches this year. He's gone to a 2-seam fastball, and that's how he has gotten the majority of his outs. And when the game's on the line at the back end, he's money. 24 of 24 in save opportunities.
There's a split. Bounced into the hole. It's short. Strong throw. Tag going by. No. And Carlos Quentin is safe. Peralta did a nice job to get to it. That goes as a hit. We'll get a pinch runner at first base now, too.
Johnny Peralta has been very, very steady at the shortstop position this year, throwing off balance, throwing off the right foot. He pulled Cabrera off the bag, and Cabrera tried the swipe tag as Carlos Quentin was running by.
Lillibridge will pinch run for Quentin. As the White Sox get their 9th hit of the afternoon, and Alex Rios comes to the plate. Again, you got some shadows creeping in here, and the wind has been blowing in all game. A little bit of cloud cover now, so I guess the shadows aren't quite as pronounced. Tell you what is pronounced, though, Mr. Allen, is this season-long slump for Alex Rios. He's hitting .207.
They made some adjustments with his hands recently. They've gotten them up a little bit higher than they were at the beginning of the season, but they still appear to be very low to me. At the beginning of the year, his hands were right around the belt buckle. But they finally convinced him to pick his hands up a little higher. But the results are still not there yet. When this guy was performing for the Toronto Blue Jays, he was known as a 5-tool player. I mean, power, hitting for average. He had some good speed.
Oh, yeah.
And really good defender and an outstanding throwing arm.
Brought some of that last year to Chicago. 51 extra base hits. He had 34 steals, 88 RBI. It's a pretty complete season. There was a thought with Joey Cora, the White Sox bench coach, in the fold here, that, boy, that would be a great reconnection. Joey Cora was a GM in the Puerto Rican League of a team out there, drafted and helped a then young Alex Rios, kind of brought him along years and years ago. I think the hope was that you bring him in, there's a rekindling of that, and certainly last year it was good Alex Rios. This year it just hadn't been there.
No, it hasn't been.
Well, the Tigers, by the way, in the bottom of the 9th, will have 6, 7, 8 in the order coming up. The big boppers just got pitched through last inning. Ordonez, Cabrera, and Martinez. Martinez bouncing into that double play.
2 of them today.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's been a great afternoon for Edwin Jackson. No, Jackson threw that 149 pitch no-hitter last year. Hasn't even thrown 90 pitches yet today.
No. We talked about Jackson at the top of the show this afternoon, and one of the things that they wanted him to get back to being is more consistent. And he has been awfully consistent today. First pitch strikes, attacking the strike zone. He has really handcuffed a really good offensive club. And it's hot out there today, and he doesn't even look like he's broken a sweat.
Meantime, Valverde's out there just kind of puttering around right now. Almost looks inconvenienced to be out there.
He takes a little bit of time in between pitches.
Runner going. A little check swing foul off the bat of Rios.
White Sox have been very aggressive all afternoon long, whether it be Scherzer, who was in the game, or now Valverde. And Brent Lillibridge has 8 steals this year. He's been caught 4 times as Jeff Cox goes through the signals. You look good in that uniform, Josh.
I don't know.
Huh?
I don't know.
I can see you in that.
Well, again, Valverde and Avila not quite together here. I've been reminded a couple times today watching these White Sox uniforms, looking out at them, the kind of the mid to late 70s. These aren't the short shorts that they used to wear, the softball pants, but
I wore those uniforms in spring training.
Well, with your legs, hey, no problems. Wave and a miss with the runner going. Rios is down on strikes, but that is a steal for Lillibridge.
That's pretty much all you could do if you're Avila, is make a really good throw down to second base, but it was a great jump by Lillibridge.
So runner at second, 1 out, and you can check out the MLB Fan Cave at MLBFanCave.com. Many of baseball's biggest stars have stopped by. Chase Utley and Ryan Howard visited this week. Took the tour, signed the wall.
They feed you too.
How about that? Follow at MLB Fan Cave on Twitter and like the MLB Fan Cave page on Facebook. They're going to put on A.J. Przinsky and get to Gordon Beckham. Remember, Beckham was called out for leaving third base early on what looked like a sac fly RBI for Juan Pierre just a couple of innings ago. So the White Sox, who thought they were leading 3-0, they're still leading just 2-0. Maybe Beckham can make it 3-0 after all. White Sox getting their runs in the second and the third. A Quentin solo homer in the second inning. Konerko a 2-out RBI knock in the third. And Jeff Jones will come out to talk to Papa Grande, Jose Valverde. Same two teams go at it tomorrow. And the White Sox move on to Kansas City. And we mentioned earlier Jake Peavey has been pushed off of these initially scheduled start here tomorrow. He'll go Tuesday in Kansas City now instead. The game tomorrow has got Phil Umber against Brad Penny.
Umber has been outstanding this year, although his last time out it wasn't very good. He has been their best pitcher.
It's kind of a spring training find for the White Sox. Maybe Gordon Beckham has found a little something lately, too. Beckham, about 3 weeks ago, Rob, was being sat down several times in games. Ozzie Guillen telling the media mentally he's just not there. I can't imagine that's something a player enjoys hearing coming out of the mouth of his manager.
No.
Ball getting away from Avila. Looked like he was crossed up. And now the runners advance to second and third. They walk Przinsky to set up a double play. Then they get the visit from Jeff Jones, and it all blows up anyway.
It's a 94-mile-per-hour fastball down, and Alex reached over to get it, and the ball hit right off of his glove, and that might go as a pass ball.
A blockable ball for sure. It will indeed be scored a pass ball. Now the infield's got to come in for the Tigers. Popped into the crowd of about 40,000 here today. This city of Detroit doing its best to come back. Of course, they had the Super Bowl here not too long ago. Ford Field right across the street. And the Lions, well, a lot of people saying the Lions could really be something this year. So maybe Maybe get some passion back downtown real soon.
It's a super sports town. Yeah, one of the best sports towns in America. Passionate fans.
Well, deserving fans, too. Very patient with their Tigers. Back in 2003, they lost 119 games. And just a little while after that, bang, they were in the World Series.
That was my first year as a Tigers announcer, and that
Lucky.
was a difficult year. That was a difficult year.
They didn't quite make the World Series when I was here, pal. always much more fun when you win. But you're right about the passion of these fans here in Detroit. Beckham, chop ball, escaping Guillen. It's into right field. 1 run is home. It'll now be runners at the corners. There is that third run after all. 3-0 White Sox here in the 9th. Remember, Beckham leaving early. Called out in the 7th inning on that tag.
Ball hit very sharply off the bat of Beckham. And he let the ball travel. He hit very sharply. Anytime you're playing the infield in, if the ball's hit as hard as this one was hit, a couple of feet to the left or the right of any of the infielders, it's going to squirt through. Would not be shocked to see Beckham try to steal a second base in this situation to keep them out of a double play.
Not running yet. Well, Brett Morel, who came in defensively a couple of innings ago, he's got just 1 home run this year. Only home run the White Sox have from a third baseman this year, and the Tigers have only 2.
He has only walked 3 times, Josh, in 217 at-bats this year.
So Ozzie Guillen must love him then. That was the calling card for Ozzie when he played. Beckham goes, and there's a throw down. Well, Avila couldn't get anything on it. Krasinski's got a hold at third base.
They're running at will today. Very aggressive. Very aggressive today are the Chicago White Sox on the base pass. Alex Avila really hasn't had an opportunity to throw any of these guys out. Beckham's got about 5-6 steps under his belt before the exchange is made from the glove to the throwing hand for Avila. And really all Carlos Guillen tried to do down at second base was keep the ball in front of him.
That's 4 steals for the Sox today. 2 by Juan Pierre at the top of the order. And the infield again comes in for the Tigers, who trail 3-0. Chop ball. Here's Guillen. Tested one more time. Thought about coming home. I think wanted to, but couldn't get the ball out of his glove.
He made the right decision to go to first. But you're absolutely right, Josh. He looked to come home, and he was trying to gather himself and get a good handle on the baseball, but he caused him to take too many steps. Therefore, he wisely just got the out at first base.
Isn't it amazing? Carlos Guillen hasn't played all year. They plug him in at second base today, gets 7 baseballs hit to him.
And he has fielded them all flawlessly.
2 runs in the 9th off Valverde. Juan Pierre does it again. He sneaks it inside the chalk. And, whoa, he's got to jam on the brakes here. It is 5-0 White Sox. That ball just getting inside the bag.
One thing about Jose Valverde, 24 of 24 in save opportunities, but when there's no save situation, he struggles.
Yeah, his ERA in non-save situations over 6. And for Juan Pierre, his first 4-hit game all year. That's going to be it for Jose Valverde. A pitching change. It's now 5-0 White Sox. Ninth inning, leading 5-0 here in Detroit. And it's an all-Al battery right now. Al Avila catching Al Albuquerque just off the DL.
He's had a great year. Albuquerque out of nowhere. They signed him in the offseason. They invited him to spring training, gave him a major league contract, and he has not disappointed anyone. And we've been talking all afternoon about the wipeout slider that Jackson has been featuring. Al Albuquerque has legitimate swing and miss slider himself.
And also the best name in baseball, too. Alberto Albuquerque. You can call him Al. He's from San Pedro de Macorís, Dominican Republic.
We did call him Alberto in spring training, but once he got called up to the major leagues, he told everyone that he wanted to be called Al.
Albuquerque.
No, just Al.
Another Al, kind of. Alexei Ramirez draws a walk, and this has been a sloppy inning here for the Tigers. Juan Pierre's last 4-hit game was last August. 3 singles and a double today.
He's had some bat range today. Take a look at this pitch inside by Scherzer. He pulls his hands in very nicely, and he fights the ball off down in the right field corner for a double. And then later on, this one's against Valverde. This ball's outside. It's down. He somehow finds the right swing for this one and hits it right past Don Kelly, the third baseman.
8th man to bat in the inning is Konerko. The Tigers in front of a couple of packed houses here. Have lost 8-2 and now today trailing 5-0.
They've kind of looked flat coming out of the All-Star break, but you have to give Gavin Floyd a lot of credit, and also Edwin Jackson, who started today for the White Sox, for slowing down the Tigers' bats. There's that slider. It's a tremendous pitch, and a lot of hitters look exactly the way Paul Konerko looked on that last swing.
Konerko having a fantastic season, batting around .320. 3rd in the league in runs batted in. He's got one today. Two on, 2 out. And a slow roller. There's another chance for Guillen. Tigers have some work to do. They are trailing 5-0. And Edwin Jackson will try to finish what he started. Call 1-800-DIRECT-TV. Edwin Jackson, the former Tiger, has been in charge of the proceedings pretty much all day. He was bidding for his first complete game of the year. It would be the first one he's had since the no-hitter last summer he featured against Tampa Bay.
I think he had to talk his way into pitching the ninth inning. It looked like he was going to come out of this game after they scored 3 more runs in the ninth inning to get a 5-run lead.
We'll show you in just a second. Don Cooper's the pitching coach, and it looked like he went down, you're right, and bumped knuckles and said, all right, good job, and then everybody else kind of feeding off of that.
High fives from the teammates.
See, good job, you're done. And Edwin Jackson's thinking, no, I'm not done.
He talked his way back onto the mound.
Getting one ground ball out after another. At 90 pitches for the afternoon, he might not get to 100 for this entire game.
Edwin Jackson is one of the few starting right-handed pitchers in the game of baseball today, Josh. They get stronger as the game goes on. That was probably his best fastball of the afternoon at 98 miles an hour, and we're 90 pitches in.
Well, we mentioned earlier that no-hitter, Arizona against Tampa Bay. It took about 150 pitches to get that done.
Look how economical he has been with his pitch count within each inning. No stress whatsoever today for Jackson.
Into today, 160 Major League starts, 3 complete games. So 1 every 50 or 60 times out. We're possibly seeing that 1 today. Another ground ball. Edwin Jackson is an out away, and the Tigers, who remember, got very, very slowly out of the gate coming out of the break last year. Well, out of the break so far, being outscored 13-2 at home by Chicago.
It's not the way that you wanted to start the second half.
Meantime, the White Sox, well, you can't ask for a better way to come on out to Detroit, a place where they just got rolled right back in April. Come to Detroit and do all this. Alex Avila. Well, Jackson and Przinsky have been in a nice rhythm all day. The defense has been solid. That part's not a surprise. The White Sox have the best fielding percentage in the league.
And really all Jackson has done here today is allowed his defenders to make plays behind him. He's pitched to a lot of contact.
Couple of strikeouts, is that right?
Yes, he's made some quality pitches, and he's allowed his infield to play today. And it hasn't always been the case with Jackson, whose pitch counts on occasion, he'll throw 95 pitches through 6 innings.
So here's number 95 this afternoon. And it takes off into left center. That ball carries. It's going to short hop. And Avila on his way to second base. Now remember, he had a no-hitter and threw about 150 pitches. This is a 9-hitter. He's at about 95.
That's one of the things that Avila does very well. He uses his hands tremendously. He gets his body in a real good position and doesn't use his arms a lot through the swing, but really good hand speed.
Don Kelly, the batter, he's gone 1 for 3. A strike on the outside edge. By the way, the producer of today's game, Carol Langley McDermott, our director, John Moore, associate director, Kathy Hunt, broadcast associate, Jordan Wolf. Now one falling outside. In the majors this year, we're told there have been only 8 9-inning complete games of fewer than 100 pitches. Jackson's got a shot if he can get this done real quick. Next couple of pitches, he'll be the 9th. On the ground, and now we're going to see pitch number 99. Jackson came in with a record of 5-7. Max Scherzer, the starter for Detroit, was 10-4. Down too low, so it will be a triple-digit day anyway for Edwin Jackson. But again, the chance for a shutout, chance for a complete game. And more importantly, for all concerned for the White Sox, a chance to knock a half a game off the Indians' lead. They play tonight in Baltimore. Tigers with 9 hits. In the meantime, the White Sox, well, they've got 11. 4 of those from Juan Pierre. Good job of table setting today for the left fielder for Chicago. Got a home run from Carlos Quentin, his first in 4 weeks. Gonna get closer to 500. Towards center. Got it. Ball game. Chicago has won it 5-0, and Edwin Jackson all the way. His 3rd career complete game in the big leagues. I know this one wasn't the no-hitter. It was almost the opposite of that. It was the 9-hitter today. The White Sox end up taking it by the final of 5-0. They're now 4.5 back. The Tigers are 1.5 back in a wide-open AL Central. Take a quick timeout, come back and recap for you. Edwin Jackson, the star of the game today.